Hey guys, welcome back for another wicked episode. So today we're actually going to do something a little bit more fun. So picture yourself, with your significant other, and you guys are talking and stuff, and then out of nowhere, you guys get into a slight argument. And in that argument, maybe you say things that you don't really mean, and sometimes you're in the wrong, and you just need somebody to talk to. And you don't want to go share this with the whole world and put it on social media and said, hey, you know what? I was walking around today and, with my wife or my girlfriend, I told her that her hair looked greasy or something like that. But the point is you need somebody to talk to, and you also want to talk to somebody else. So today, I got something really cool for you. For me, it's called the Pissed Off My Wife Advice Bot, and we're going to build it today. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to a couple of different workflows today. First and foremost, we're going to walk through something called IFTTT. And for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's called If This, Then That. IFTTT is an amazing automation framework. It allows you to go into, so let's take a quick look here. It allows you to go into this, and it allows you to connect a whole bunch of different services together. So let's say you're posting a video on YouTube and you want to automatically post it on Facebook. Or you posted something on Twitter and you want to automatically post it on Facebook and YouTube. Or you want to control your home automation with it. IFTTT is amazing. And so we're going to leverage a little bit of IFTTT. The only downside is there's not a lot of customization you can do. So if I wanted to put in certain rules in IFTTT, then I can't do that. And this is where we're going to build a Python program. And we're going to connect IFTTT with our Python program, which is going to do some really cool stuff. So let's check it out. So again, if you're not familiar with IFTTT, it's an amazing platform. Check it out. There's a whole bunch of different applets you can build on here. So if we were to just go ahead here and look at all the different types of services, these are the services that I have activated, but there's a whole bunch of different services you can use. So the way this works is you would put something called a trigger, and your trigger is going to be, whether you get something in your inbox, whether it's a webhook, whether it's some kind of an API call, whatever it may be, and you're going to pick that trigger. And so as soon as you pick this, you can scroll down and there's a whole bunch of different services you can use as a trigger. And these are called recipes when you put them together. So if you were to just go ahead and say, for example, the one we're going to use is something called a webhook, which is an API call. So if I were to just go type in web and I go to webhook, it says, as soon as I receive a webhook, so some kind of an API call through an HTTP URL, if I click that, I can go and say my event trigger is going to be, test. I create the trigger, and then every time I pass that variable test into that API call, I can do a whole bunch of things. I can post to Facebook, I can post a buffer if I want to go ahead and put some posts on there for the future. There's a whole bunch of different services, so I really highly encourage you to check this out. I've personally connected a lot of home automation frameworks using this as well, which is awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a bot that's going to give us advice. So every single time I get into an argument with my significant other, or you get an argument with your significant other, you're going to send a small email to IFTTT. And what you're going to do is you're going to explain what you said. And that's it. And so you're going to do that a couple of times. And here's what it's going to do. It's going to count how many times you've done something wrong in a day. And then based on the number of times you've done something wrong, it's going to do something new every single time. So let me show you the code here that I built. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to walk through this entire code. I've already built it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how we use it, or how I'm going to use it. Okay? But let me just scroll down to this one section over here. And this one section here is going to basically tell us what we're going to be doing with this code. So once I email this email address, in the background, it's going to update a Google spreadsheet. And so I've got a Google Sheet set up, and I've done an API call so that every time I send an email with a certain trigger word, and we're going to go through the example, it's going to go and update my Google Sheets. Now I'm going to go to my Google Sheets here. So go to Google Sheets. I'm going to sign in with my email and password. All right. And what I've done here, so let's go to the code in a second, but what I've done here is I've basically said I want to capture the subject and I want to capture when it happened. And I'm going to put in a whole bunch of different messages that I may have said to my significant other. And the point of this is I want to build a library of how many times I've done this and what I've said. And that's going to be important because of the triggers we're going to pull. So let me show you the triggers we're going to pull. First and foremost, if I've done this once, it's going to send me a push notification to my phone, which we're going to see on this. Now, if I've done this 3 times, what it's gonna do is it's gonna send a push notification, but it's also gonna call me and say, dude, what's going on? Like, you gotta chill out here. Now, if I've done this 5 times, first of all, I probably need help. But if I've done this 5 times, it's gonna send me a push notification. It's gonna give me another call, and it's gonna automatically, without me having to do or touch anything, send an apology email to my wife, just in case I forget. Pretty cool. So let's see how this works. So when I scroll up in my code here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 things. We're gonna go ahead and define keys. These keys are gonna be your API keys that you're gonna get from IFTTT. And the way to do that, and I'm okay to show you this API key here because I'm gonna get rid of this anyways. But you go to services, you're gonna go to webhooks, and then you're gonna go to documentation or settings, and you're gonna pull this. Just right after use, this is gonna be your API key, all right? You're gonna take that API key, and you can do one of 2 things. You can either put the API key directly right into the actual call, which is here, or you can store it as a key. And I've chosen to store it as a key in a secrets file. Now, I'm not gonna open the secret files because it has a whole bunch of other APIs that I don't wanna expose. But if I were to go ahead and just show you, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go define, and you're gonna call it key, and you're gonna say return, and in this case, this API key here, which I didn't copy and paste properly. All right, so I'm gonna go here and return that API key, and that's it. And so what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna say from secrets import key and key2. I'll explain why I have a key2 in a second. But that's what's sitting in this file that I'm not gonna open because my key2 is the one I don't wanna expose. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. But if I wanted to do key2, I would do the exact same thing here. And I would just say key2 and my other API call here, okay? So I'm going line by line on the code to explain to you what happens. The reason why I have key2 here is because back in March or so, Google had taken out a whole bunch of APIs out of IFTTT. The only thing you're allowed to do with IFTTT and Gmail now is send emails, but it's only specific to certain accounts. So right now they have a bug that's happening right now that they have on their page saying, hey, listen, we have an outage, we're working on it. And there's a limited number of Gmail accounts that are impacted by this. I can't send it. So I'm sending this from another Gmail account that does work, which is why I have key 2. Otherwise I would have left it as key 1. Okay, now this piece here, this is the authentication protocol. So you're gonna have scope, and this basically tells you the different types of things you're gonna have access to. So you'll have access to feeds, the spreadsheets, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And this is posted on Google's website. I actually found this from another YouTuber, and I'm gonna go ahead and put his tutorial in the description. It was actually helpful for me. But take a look at his work. It actually is well done, and that's where I got a lot of this here. All right, so the other thing you need to use your spreadsheets is you're gonna need a JSON file which has all of your authentications in there. So it's like a service ID. So to do that, you're just gonna go to console.cloud.gmail.com. Then what you're gonna do is on the side, you're gonna go to APIs, you're gonna go to library, you're gonna type in Sheets. Okay, so Google Sheets is gonna come up. Then you're gonna go to manage. It's gonna say enable this API for you, but for me it's gonna say manage because I've already done this. And then you're gonna go to credentials. You're gonna go to create credentials, you're gonna go to service account key, and you're gonna follow the instructions. You're gonna pick JSON, which is what's recommended, and you're gonna go down and you're gonna download a file. You're gonna take that file and you're gonna put it in your same folder here. So you've got app.py is what I've called this. I'm not using credentials.json. I was doing something else, and I'm not going to use getMailer, but this is the file that I've downloaded. You can rename this to whatever you want, and you're going to pass this in this variable here. So you're going to install a few things from Gmail. I'll put the links in the description exactly of what you need to download, the pip commands for that. But one is going to be gspread and one is going to be OAuth to client. Once you have that, you're going to go ahead and open this function called service account credentials from this library, auth2client.service_account, service_account. And in that, then you're gonna go ahead and pass your JSON file. So all you're really doing is you're authenticating yourself to make sure that it works. Then for gspread, which is your Google Spreadsheets, you're gonna go ahead and authorize it using these credentials. You're gonna go ahead and open your sheets. And all I've done here, then I said, set data equal to sheet, get all the records that are in here. So everything here, it's gonna do it. It's gonna extract it. And then I said, convert that into a data frame because I like working with pandas. So just to give you an idea of how this is going to work, I can just go print df, and it's going to go ahead and return everything that's here. If you notice, it's returning everything that's here. So if I go ahead and I get rid of this stuff here, so let's say I delete these out here and I rerun this, it's only going to pull the first one, and that's all it's pulled. All right, so this piece here of the code just simply allows me to authenticate myself, get onto Google Sheets, download everything I need to download, and move forward, and then convert it into a data frame. All right, so let's walk through this workflow. First thing I need is a Gmail account. Okay, from the Gmail account, I'm going to go ahead and use IFTTT to send an email to IFTTT with a hashtag. This way IFTTT is going to know that this is the email that I want to go ahead and put into the spreadsheet. Then I'm going to go ahead and tell IFTTT to take the contents of my email and put it in the spreadsheet. Okay, so let's do that first. So what we're going to do is we're going to create something called a recipe. So I've already got it created, but let's create it again anyways. I'll call it something else so that it doesn't impact the code. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, so I'm going to go open up email. I'm going to say send an email tagged. Okay, so I'm going to send this email tag to IFT. What I've got it tagged as POW for piss off wife. You can put piss off boyfriend, you can put whatever you want, but let's go ahead and just put in hello. All right, we're going to create that trigger. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to open up Google Sheets, and I'm going to say add a row to spreadsheet. Okay, so it's going to send IFT an email, so you can call the spreadsheet whatever you want. Then you can go ahead and put in a whole bunch of ingredients, which are basically variables. You can say, from, body, select, subject, whatever you want there. You can specify the drive. If the spreadsheet doesn't exist, it's going to go ahead and create a new one. You create that action, hit finish. Now you have your link made from every time I send an email with the code hello. It's going to go into the spreadsheet and it's going to create a new row and it's going to print in whatever we have in the body tag here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did it with POW. So let's go back and let's open this one up. So the way I have it set up is I said, anytime I use the tag POW, which we'll show you in a second, add a row to IDIA, which stands for I did it again. And I want to use in the body, I want to have the text that I write and then the time that I received it. And you write these three little straight lines here to create a separate column. And then I said, don't worry about this. It's just going to create it in the main folder save. So every single time I go ahead and send an email. So let's do this. Let's send an email to me. So let's go to Gmail. All right, I'm going to send an email. You're going to send it to triggers at IFT. Then I'm going to go ahead and say POW. And then I'm going to say, you smell funny. As soon as I do that, IFT is going to process that information. It's going to go into the spreadsheet, and you'll see in a few seconds the spreadsheet's actually going to update itself. So it's going to add a column on its own, and that essentially is going to be, this is our repository. Now in a production environment, I wouldn't typically do this. You will probably want to use some kind of a database. But you see now it just populated, it says, you smell funny. And it's got the date July 1st and when it happened. And so the reason why I wanted to capture again the date was we want to make sure that we can count the number of events that happen in a specific day. All right, so we've done that. So now we built our integration from Gmail to IFT to send the email with a specific hashtag. And then I'm going to take the contents of my email and put it in the spreadsheet. So that's been done. So what do we do next? So what we're going to do next here in the code is now I have the ability to pull that information. So if I were to go ahead and try to pull this information again, so let's close this. And I'm going to make this a bit bigger for you guys. And this as well. So when I go ahead and run this now, it should pull this you smell funny, which it does. You smell funny July 1st at this specific date. Cool. So it's doing what we needed to do. It's building that integration for us. And that's what this piece takes care of here. Okay, so we've walked through this piece. We've walked through the keys, how to get those. These are a whole bunch of libraries you're going to need. Again, you can just copy and paste some of these, but you'll see where we're going to use some of these. All right, so we've authenticated everything. We put it into a data frame. We printed that data frame, which you've seen, so I'm going to get rid of this. What the next piece of code is going to do is it's going to take this string here, July 1st, 2019. it's gonna basically reformat that string, and all I care about is the date. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out this comma here, which is what this replace command does. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the time, take the different format, and I just wanna get the date out of it. Okay, so if I go here now and I say print df, you're gonna notice it's a little bit different because it's not gonna have the time in there. I've stripped it out. So it just has the date. That's all I care about. Because I wanna know when the event happened, not necessarily what time, unless you really wanna get granular. All right, next thing is I want to count the number of events that happen in a specific day. So this is where I've used from collections import counter. And the whole point of this is I want to understand how many times I actually have a specific incident that happens on a specific day. So if I go ahead and do something like print events, what you're going to see is it's going to see on this specific date I had one incident. And on this specific date, which is today, I had one incident, which corresponds to what we got here. But obviously I don't want to have this information in this format. What I want to know is the events that happened today. Whatever's happened yesterday has happened yesterday. I can't do anything about it. I mean, I can try, but what I really want to do is focus on today. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and iterate through all of the different elements that come back here. And I want to go ahead and get the keys, and the keys are going to be the date. Right? So this is the key and this is the value in this specific command. Okay, and these two specific commands, I'll let you digest this, but the way it works is it's gonna go ahead and pull the number of events that happen on a specific day. So if I go ahead and do a print on latest event, and this is the best way to debug your code, is to just print along the way to see if it's working or not. It's gonna show that I only have one event that happened today. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and send another email. Let's see what this prints out. So we're gonna go and say compose trigger if. What should we say today? You look unhealthy. I know that's mean, but this is just for example, guys. This is not real life. I know you guys don't do this either. Don't do that. That's not nice. All right, so we're gonna let this populate in a second. So you look unhealthy. I'm gonna go back here, rerun this. And now this is gonna say I have two events that happened today, and that's exactly what I want to see. Okay, so that's what this does. The next element here, the next component here is a function. And the way this function works, so let's make this bigger again. I just want to keep this window open so we can see this sheet in the back. But the way this function works is when you're going to go ahead and send a request to IFTTT, that you have to do it in, it's almost like a curl command you got to do. So you got to go ahead and send your headers. This is fairly common and standard. Content type is an application JSON version. Here's what I'm doing here. What I'm saying is I need to go ahead and create a list, my sorry list. In that, I want to go ahead and see the number of subjects, the number of times that I've actually done something today, or I want to return the list of things that I've said today. And that's what this is saying. So it's saying, if this happened today, tell me exactly what I said in a list today. Okay, now if my latest event count, and that is a number of times I've done this, is less than 3, then I just want to go ahead and return back data value equals this. And the reason why you want to do that is when you're going to go ahead and send a call to IFT. Let me go ahead and bring up the key of the URL here. What you're going to do, so the way this is going to work is you're going to go and pass something called an event, which is exactly what it is that happened today, right? So your event is going to be what you said is your trigger point. Okay, so in this case, POW is my event here, but if I go back to my applets and I say on my third event, trigger a call, the event name is going to be 3call event. All right, so that's why we have event name here. It's called 3call event. And so you're gonna go ahead and do a 3call event, all right, with your key, which is gonna be your secret key that you've got. Then on top of that, you wanna go ahead and append a few other things. You wanna append some parameters. And if you know how parameters work, you're gonna go ahead and pass some kind of a dictionary. And in that dictionary, you're gonna have your key is going to essentially be, is the name of the value that the URL accepts. And then your value is gonna be the actual value. So you are fat. I'm just making this up, right? And so this is what you need to go ahead and pass as parameters into your URL, which is why we have the request header. So I said if the number of counts is less than 3, so that means really we only have an action at 1. If you look here, when it's equal to 1, it does nothing at 2. So essentially what this is saying is when it's equal to 1, in other words, go ahead and pick one item that I've done wrong, all right? And put that into, pass that basically back. So value 1 is going to be part of the URL string that goes back to IFT. And go ahead and take whatever I wrote down in my email, lowercase it, and pass that into the URL. If it's greater than 3, then pass 3 values, because in IFTTT, when you're going to go ahead and pass a URL string, so let me go ahead and show you this. So we're going to go to services, webhooks, we're going to go to documentation. You're able to pass up to 3 values. And so when you're going to pass these values, they're going to be a dictionary format like they have specified here. They get appended to the end of your URL, but they get sent basically as a curl command, right? So if I go ahead and type in, you smell funny, you are weird, and so forth, it's actually going to go ahead and populate this dictionary here for us that's going to append onto the URL. So that's essentially what this block of code here is going to be doing. Now, the reason why I have 2 functions here, I have one called make request, and I have one that's called send sorry. This is going to send my email. And again, because I have to send this from a different Gmail account, I have to set up a different key, which is why it's saying key 2. It's the reason why I have to set up 2 functions. Otherwise, I would keep this as one function. It would be easy. But when I'm going to be doing my push notifications and when I'm going to be doing my phone calls, it's going to go ahead and use the first key. So go ahead and check it out. There's other ways to send the email as well through Gmail. Some of them are less secure ways, but it can be done. And finally, if I mess up once, it's going to send me a push notification. We're going to demo this. If I mess up twice, I actually don't need this. If I mess up twice, it's going to send me a push notification and it's going to give me a call. If I mess up 5 times, it's going to send me a push notification, yell at me on a call, and it's going to send an apology email to my significant other without me having to do anything. So let's demo this out. So let's go back to my spreadsheet here. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these columns. All right. And I got my phone here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the push notifications on this phone. I've got another phone here for the phone calls just so that I can let you guys hear what it's actually going to say. So let me go ahead and clear these push notifications out. Okay, so I've got a clear notification. Let me open this phone up. I've got my IFT application set up here. Hopefully it's capturing both of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to demo this. Let's go back to the screen and we are going to go ahead and send myself an email, or send myself an email, my bot, my friend an email, and let them know what happened. So I'm going to go to compose. I'm going to go ahead and go to trigger IFTTT. I'm going to do hashtag POW and I'm going to say called, and we're going to write this in first person as if I'm actually talking to my significant other, because when the email gets crafted, it just makes more sense, but you'll see. I'm going to say called you. I've never done this, but we're going to do this anyways. So we're going to hit send. This is going to go ahead and populate. Now, in a production environment or in a time when I'm going to use this for real life, I wouldn't be going ahead and pushing the run button on my Python script every day. So as you can see, it just showed up, called you fat. I would probably put this as a job to run every 2 to 3 minutes so that I wouldn't ever have to push play or push run in this case. So you see it's going to say you have 1 event, and I got a push notification which says, hey, be nice, walk away and come back, then apologize. I don't know if you can see that, but that's essentially the push notification that you get when I do this. All right, cool. So that worked. So now let's go ahead and send a few more emails. So we know that the next trigger point is going to happen when I hit 3 events. All right, so let's do this. So we're going to go trigger. I'm going to say hashtag POW, called you silly. All right, and then I'm going to send my next one because that's going to populate here. As you can see, it'll come. So let's just wait for this to come for a second. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and send one more email to trigger the 3rd event. So we're going to go trigger hashtag PO. So you could be, in the park, you could be wherever you want. You go, you walk away, you collect your thoughts, you come back. Just write a quick note. It's not going to be the end of the world. All right. So now you're going to say, told you can't drive. All right. Hit send. It's not going to do anything yet because this still needs to update. And at the same time, I need to run my Python script. So let's see this update. All right, so as you can see, it basically populated here. So now when I do this, a few things are gonna happen. So let me get ready. I'm gonna do two things. You're gonna see the push notification come up here. You're also gonna see me get a phone call, and hopefully I can hit speakerphone fast enough so you guys can hear what it basically says. All right, so now, remember this is in a production environment. I don't have to, hit run. This is gonna run every 30 seconds or a minute or whatever you wanna do on your own. I hit play, and what should happen is I should get a push notification and a phone call, and obviously you can put this on the same phone. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. But once I go ahead and hit play here, let's see what happens. All right, so I just got a push notification and I'm getting a phone call. So let me see if I could hit speaker and let you guys hear this.
Calm down and stop acting like an idiot. You just said called you silly to your partner, and that is not cool.
All right, so I just got called an idiot, and what it did is it took a random item that I said today and reminded me, hey, listen, you said this. And it also says that here. It says third offense. Hey, Sats, you just said something inappropriate to your partner. You said called you fat to your partner. Walk away and cool down, then apologize. So it's right there. And again, all automated. So now what we're gonna do, because we're just silly, we're gonna piss our wife off 2 more times. How's that? So let's go ahead and send 2 more emails. And I'm gonna say trigger. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a burn address. And a burn address basically means it's a throwaway email. It's a temporary email so you can go to this website up here and you can go ahead and just have a temporary email. Great if you want to do a Craigslist listing or something around those lines where you don't want to expose your real address. Just use one of these. So I've gone ahead and I've put this in my workflow. I've said, we're going to go ahead and send an email to this address, which I will show you. Now remember, this is in my other Gmail account or in my other IFT account that has my other Gmail. And the reason is because this one's not working for some reason. But if I go ahead and show you, the event name is send email. I'm sending it to this email address right here, which is the same one. And what we're gonna say is, I'm really sorry for what I said. I shouldn't have said. It's gonna pass through 3 random things that I said today. I will be more careful next time. Hopefully you can forgive me. So let's go ahead and see if that's what it sends. You can always go ahead and change your thresholds if you want. If you want this to be 6, 7, 10, go wild. But we're gonna go ahead and send another email. So how many do I have right now here? I got 1, 2, 3. So I need to send a couple more. Said you looked funny today. All right, so send. And I'm gonna go ahead and send one more because I got problems. You dance really funny. All right, so we should have 5 items populated in here. Now this should give me the use case to do all of the things that I wanna do. But when I go here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and my 5th one should populate very soon. You dance really funny. Now that's populated, a few things are gonna happen. We're gonna get an email address here. So pretend this is your wife's or your significant other's email, which you can input in there. I'm gonna get another phone call. It's gonna say something to me. We'll see what it says. And I'm gonna get another push notification. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so today I'm at 5 events. Good job. All right, so I'm getting my phone call. I just got my push notification. I'll read that in a second. But let's see what she's got to say.
Right, wise guy. Now you've said it all. You have said the following. You dance really funny. Called you silly. Told you you can't drive and more. This is not cool. Go get some flowers and apologize.
All right, so I basically got reminded of the things that I said, and I was told I should get some flowers and apologize. My push notification, 5th offense. Okay, now you're in the wrong. You big idiot. Stop saying silly things. You just said the following. Called you silly, called you fat, told you you can't drive. Relax yourself. I've covered you this time and sent an apology email on your behalf. Make sure you pick up some flowers. So that's a push notification it does. And again, really, this is like confiding into like a bot, right? Confiding into somebody and saying, hey, I said this. Maybe you don't have the courage to go and apologize or the courage to have a conversation with them or whatever the case may be. Hey, why not automate it? And if you're dumbfounded and you're confused as to why your significant other is happy because you completely forgot that you have this thing automated, just take it. All right, now the last thing, we're gonna go ahead and see this email. So, subject is sorry for my actions. We're gonna say, I'm really sorry for what I said. I shouldn't have said, so we can format the texting here. called you fat, said you look funny today, and you dance really funny. I will be more careful next time. Hopefully you can forgive me. So I thought this was a little bit fun to build, just to show you what the kind of things you can do with Python, that, how you can connect different APIs that don't have this kind of level of automation yet. You can use this for so many other things, right? If you're looking to pick up groceries, you can do this. So I built this really cool one in the past where it was able to track my location, and as soon as it knew that I was next to a grocery store, it actually texted me my grocery list, which is cool. If you want to track something and you have certain thresholds you want to put against it, this is a great way to do it. The best part is it's free and it's completely automated. Now, the one thing I will tell you is some of you may have some issues sending the email, so that module may or may not work, and that's specifically because IFTTT is having that issue with Gmail, and I think it's because of what happened in March where Google basically said we're going to go in and do a whole cleanup of all of our APIs. So they pulled a lot of things from a lot of organizations. I think they're trying to sort it out. There is another way you can send it, though it is a slightly less secure way, but if you have a throwaway Gmail address, it doesn't really matter. You would just go to the settings and you would say something around the lines, I think it says allow less secure apps. And then you can go into Python and you can do an SMTP library. There's a whole bunch of them. You can do a search on them. If not, we'll cover it off for sure in an upcoming tutorial. But again, this is a great way to do, have some fun with Python. Take a whole bunch of different applications that don't really integrate like this. Create that in-between integration. You can put in whatever rules you want here. The fact that you can have fun voice calls, you can have fun push notifications. You can do text messaging, you can send updates on Twitter, you can do anything you want basically with this, which is really, really cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I certainly had a lot of fun with this. I showed my wife this. She was actually laughing her head off when she saw the comments that I wrote in the Google Sheets. And again, made up. My wife, you don't mess. So give this a shot. The last thing you need is your significant other coming to you, guns blazing, punching you forward. You don't want that. All right. So have some fun with this. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Like I said, I had a whole bunch of fun doing this, and I will see you next time. Take care.